began with a single message, quiet, almost harmless on the surface, but sharp enough to cut through the life of anyone who glanced at it for too long. A stranger, hiding behind another man's name, reaching into places he never belonged. In the cold silence of early morning, when screens glow brighter than daylight, a dangerous game was already unfolding. A game where identity wasn't just borrowed. It was weaponized. This is the story of a man who didn't break into houses. He broke into people. Their trust, their reputations, and the fragile scaffolding that holds a life together. The digital world gave him cover. The shadows gave him power. The story traces the downfall of a figure we will call Darren Holt, a quiet, reserved freelance designer working in a small apartment lit mostly by his monitor and a single window facing a rusted fire escape. Darren wasn't a criminal. Not at first. He was just another man struggling to stay afloat, watching the numbers in his bank account fall like dismantled scaffolding. Rent, insurance, debt. It was always something. But desperation doesn't appear suddenly. It builds in layers thin, barely perceptible until it becomes a weight impossible to lift. And one night, as he scrolled through social media, watching the curated perfection of influencers and entrepreneurs who seemed to succeed without effort, Darren found a doorway. Not a legal one, not a moral one, but an open one. It started with a simple impersonation. A profile picture copied, a name slightly altered, a biography nearly identical. A digital mask, one he slipped on with trembling fingers and a breath he held too long. His first target was a mid-level tech consultant known online for giving business advice. The man had thousands of followers, not millions big enough to be trusted, small enough not to be closely monitored. Darren sent his first message, pretending to be that consultant. Calm, friendly, helpful. "I'm offering personal guidance," he wrote, "just a small fee for direct mentorship." People believed him. They sent money. Small amounts at first, then more. He told himself it wasn't real, that the people behind the usernames would forget, that the consultant would never notice. But lies rarely stay contained. They expand, pulling more lies behind them like an undertow. Darren made new identities bigger ones. Online personalities with polished images and loyal audiences. He copied their mannerisms, their phrasing, their brand tones with unsettling precision. With each new impersonation, it felt ruse, a sense of power he'd never tasted. His hands trembled less, his doubts faded, and the money flowed. But false confidence corrodes judgment. On a winter evening, after weeks of success, Darren made the mistake that would unravel everything. He impersonated a highly visible wellness coach with a reputation for philanthropy and transparency. Her audience was devoted, protective. When one of her real followers received a message from Darren, his fake profile demanding money for a private crisis coaching session, she hesitated. The tone felt wrong. The urgency felt artificial. She forwarded the message to the real coach without thinking twice. And for the first time in years, the coach paused her scheduled posts and live streams. She stared at the message, the fake version of herself. The predatory tone, her breath caught in her throat sharp, cold, nearly invisible, and she whispered, "This isn't me." The investigation began silently. No warnings were issued online. No public posts. The coach coordinated with digital security specialists who traced patterns and times, and slowly, like uncovering footprints in fresh snow, the pieces aligned. Darren had slipped. He reused fragments of email addresses, repeated linguistic patterns, left behind digital fingerprints he didn't know existed. His online masks were seamless to the human eye, but machines see differently. They found the seams. While investigators closed in, Darren's life remained strangely calm. He woke each morning, made instant coffee, opened his laptop, and continued the deception with methodical precision. He didn't know that every message he sent was being captured, analyzed, cataloged. The tension grew quietly, like pressure behind a locked door. He sensed something was wrong only when 2 of his fake accounts were flagged and disabled within hours. His breath tightened. His pulse quickened. He opened windows to let the cold air steady him. Bate kuldanti. Escaped the sense that someone was watching. One night he sat alone in the dim glow of his monitor, refreshing a blank screen, waiting for anything to break the silence. And then it came. A knock at the door. Not loud, not forceful, but steady. 3 taps. Measured. Low. He froze. His hands hovered above the keyboard. His eyes flickered toward the door, and the silence stretched thin enough to snap. The authorities moved with calm authority. They entered his apartment with quiet voices, steady instructions, and a calm that shook Darren more than shouting ever could. He sat on the edge of his bed, shoulders hunched, fingers trembling, answering questions with barely audible fragments. The officers weren't cruel. They weren't emotional. They were simply patient, documenting each detail, gathering evidence, letting him speak when he dared. But the emotional weight pressed down on him each time he heard the words fraud, impersonation, victim. Words he once believed belonged to someone else. The interrogation room was brighter than his apartment. Cleaner. Unforgiving. A single camera blinked red in the corner, recording every swallowed breath, every trembling exhale. The investigator across from him didn't raise her voice. She simply asked, "Why did you take their names?" Darren stared at the metal table. His throat tightened. He said nothing. Silence filled the room like fog. She leaned forward, slowly, not aggressive, not threatening. Just present. "You knew what you were doing, Darren. You crafted every detail. You built trust only to take it away. Why?" His voice finally broke through the tension, soft, cracked around the edges. "I didn't want to be me anymore." And with that sentence, the facade shattered. The investigator said nothing. She didn't need to. The truth hung between them, heavy and undeniable. In the courtroom, weeks later, Darren sat small and nearly invisible in the shadow of his own actions. Victims delivered statements quiet, restrained, but filled with disappointment and violated trust. Some spoke of money they lost. Others spoke of emotional manipulation. But the most painful moments came from those who said he stole something deeper. The safety they once felt online. Darren listened with his head bowed, each word another weight pressing him closer to the ground. No one shouted. No one needed to. The calmness made the consequences feel sharper, more permanent. When the sentence was finally handed down, Darren didn't flinch. He simply exhaled alone. Fragile release, as though the truth had been waiting inside him for too long. He walked out of the courtroom not as a mastermind, not as a faceless shadow, but as a man confronting the pieces of a life he had broken with his own hands. And in the quiet that followed, reality settled where ambition used to be. The story of Darren Holt isn't about technology or clever schemes. It's about the cost of becoming someone else. The cost of believing that identity is disposable. The cost of forgetting that trust, once stolen, takes much longer to rebuild than a fake profile ever could. In the end, Darren didn't lose because he was caught. He lost because he became the kind of person who needed to hide behind the faces of others. A man who sacrificed his own name to steal someone else's. Sometimes, one wrong choice can destroy a lifetime. Learn from their story. Choose kindness. Choose life. This was just the beginning. The most mysterious and shocking crime stories are still ahead. Subscribe to Crime Flow Narratives and be among the first to uncover what comes next.